Your organization has significantly invested in team building, things like away days, the collaboration programs, and the culture initiatives. But the business changes you expected from all of this isn't really materializing. Team productivity hasn't shifted, and you're not really sure why. Decades of rigorous behavioral science research say something that should make every people leader stop and think. The problem might not be the individual's behavior within the team. The real issue is that teams don't automatically outperform individuals. In fact, under the wrong conditions, they quietly and predictably make performance worse. Today, I want to walk you through what the evidence actually says, why it matters for how you design your teams, and most importantly, the one question you should be asking before you ever default to collaboration. In the late 1800s, a French agricultural engineer called Maximilien Ringelmann, who was interested in how agricultural workers could maximize their productivity, ran a rope pulling experiment. He wanted to know whether more people pulling a rope produced more total force. The obvious answer is yes. More people, more output. That is the whole premise of teamwork. But he found when people pulled alone, each person exerted an average of 85 kilograms of force. In a group of 7, that figure dropped to around 65 kilograms per person. That is a huge drop simply by being in a group. Now, you might think that that is a coordination problem. People can't all pull at exactly the same moment. They walk at different speeds, grip at different angles. It's mechanical. But researchers in the 1970s closed that gap. They put people in soundproofed booths with noise-cancelling headphones and asked them to clap or cheer as loudly as they could, sometimes alone and sometimes in groups of 2 to 6. There's no coordination required to make noise. Every person is completely independent. And yet, individuals outperformed groups, and group size actually had a negative impact on their overall performance. The larger the group, the less noise they each produced. This is a predictable psychological response to shared accountability and what researchers call social loafing. When more people are responsible for the same outcome, your brain quietly recalculates. It asks, is my effort really needed? And in most group settings, it decides probably not. So it conserves energy. A meta-analysis of 78 independent studies confirmed this happens across physical tasks, cognitive tasks, and brainstorming and evaluation work, regardless of culture, industry, or seniority. Which means some of the development budget you are defending to your board is quietly being absorbed by a psychological effect that your program design never accounted for. Now, if that were the whole story, the answer would be really simple. Abolish teams. Everyone works alone. But that's not what the evidence says either. In 2007, researchers at Northwestern University analyzed about 20 million research papers and 2 million patents, tracking team-authored versus individually authored work across decades and disciplines. They found that a team-authored research was 6 times more likely to be cited, 1,000 times or more, and that was obviously the marker of a truly breakthrough contribution. So teams came to dominate the production of high-impact ideas. So how do we reconcile that with Ringelmann? If groups make us try less hard, how are they simultaneously producing more breakthroughs? The answer came from a 2021 study from MIT. The researchers gave participants a range of room assignment tasks, some simple and some complex, and had them work both alone and in groups. On simple tasks, groups were slower and less efficient than individuals. The cost of coordinating outweighed any benefits. On complex tasks, the picture shifted. Groups didn't produce higher quality solutions than the best individual working alone, but they matched the average individual on quality while dramatically outpacing even the fastest individual on speed. The net result was that on complex tasks, groups were more efficient than the best individual. The mechanism is really telling. The cost of working in a group, like excess deliberation, reaching consensus, are fixed regardless of task complexity. And the benefits, that is things like faster parallel search or earlier first solutions, grow with complexity. Teams don't outperform by default. They outperform when the task is complex enough to require what only a group can provide, genuinely diverse knowledge combining to solve something a single person cannot solve alone. So the variable that determine better performance isn't always things like motivation or psychological safety. It's also task complexity. And when an organization gets this wrong, they invest to fix signals instead of solving the actual problem. They run team communication workshops, conflict resolution training, trust building programs, none of which addresses the real issue. And the business change they hired all these people to deliver never arrives. As a people leader, you make decisions every day about how work gets done. And most of the time, the implicit assumption underneath those decisions is that collaboration is inherently good, that minds together work better. The science says that assumption is only half true. And the half where it is false is costing you. So before you design the next program or commission the next initiative or expand the next team, ask one question. Is the way I have structured this work actually capable of producing the business change I'm promising? If the answer is no, a smaller group or a single owner will produce a better result. Not because your people are not capable to collaborate, but because the system you have put them in will activate the Ringelmann effect, diffuse accountability, and quietly reduces the effort each person brings. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to turn people and culture development into tangible business results through behavioral science, don't forget to subscribe. That's what this channel is all about. I'll see you in the next one.